This is a CNN special report.
The countdown for the launch of the Space Shuttle Atlantis is almost complete. CNN correspondent Tom Mintier joins us with the latest. Tom?
Well, the astronauts aboard Atlantis are hoping the fourth time is the time for them. They're getting tired of making that trip out to the pad. At the Kennedy Space Center, all is going well. The auxiliary power units have already been fired up. They're in the final stages of the countdown. About 2.5 minutes left until they light the candle, as they like to say, and Atlantis roars away from the ground. You can see the vent arm being retracted right now, one of the final stages of preparation for a launch today. The main objective of this flight is the TIGRIS satellite, the tracking and data relay satellite. It will be put into orbit later in the day. It is the first and the largest thing on the agenda for the Atlantis crew. The Atlantis crew was awakened before 6 o'clock this morning, a wake-up call that they should be getting used to. They received one yesterday. The weather is much better at the Cape today. The winds have died down. There are no thunderstorms or clouds. As you can see, it's a beautiful sky behind Pad 39A at the Kennedy Space Center. So they say they have 0% chance of violation of the weather constraints, the stricter weather constraints that were put in place after the Challenger accident. So a little over a minute and a half now before this 9-day mission is off the ground and underway. The majority of the flight, after they deploy the TIGRIS satellite, will be taken up with medical experiments that they are starting to run on a regular basis on these flights. They want to get some kind of an idea of how the astronauts are affected by long-term duration in space.
The liquid hydrogen tank is reported to be at flight pressure.
There was a minor problem overnight with that piece of hardware, but it was
1 minute and counting.
Not to be a problem for this flight. It was something that's not going to be used. Under a minute now.
T-minus 45 seconds. Coming up on a go for auto sequence start.
This is the 42nd flight in the mission in the program, and also the first in about 6 years where the Kennedy Space Center is a primary landing site at the end of the mission. So there's a very good chance, unless it's bad weather, that we will have a landing once again at the Kennedy Space Center.
Control of the vehicle's critical functions. T-minus 20. 15, 12, 10, 9, 8, 7. We have a go for main engine start. 4, 3, 2, 1. And liftoff of the Space Shuttle Atlantis on a 9-day mission to deploy the TIGRIS communication satellite.
Atlantis, global program. Roger, roll, Atlantis.
Houston's now controlling. Maneuver complete, rolling Atlantis and crew heads down and on the proper heading. Engines at 104%. Engines throttling back now to 81%. Engines throttling down and holding well. All systems performing well. Atlantis accelerating through the dense lower altitudes. Altitude now 18,000 feet, velocity 1,000 feet per second. Atlantis beginning to approach the region of maximum dynamic pressure. Engines throttling down now to 67%. 3 engines at 67. And 3 engines throttling up.
Atlantis, go ahead, throttle up. Roger, go ahead, throttle up.
3 engines now running at 104% rated thrust. All systems performing well. Good hydraulics, good electrical systems. Altitude now 68,000 feet. Velocity 2,500 feet per second. Atlantis now 9 nautical miles downrange. Time 1 minute 35 seconds.
Check on UHF. Loud and clear.
Flight controllers watching for solid rocket booster burnout. Time 1 minute 56 seconds. chamber pressure tailing off now.
So the solid rockets have fallen away and are starting their descent back into the ocean, where they'll be retrieved. Atlantis now operating on the power of its 3 main engines. Everything going well so far into the mission. They are going to head to a spot about 183 miles above the equator, where they will be orbiting for the next 9 days. And again, they're going to, the primary objective of this flight is to deploy the tracking and data relay satellite that will occur later in the day. So, the Atlantis crew is on the way to space, and they will remain there for the next week or so. We expect to know later in the day about the deployment of this satellite. This, again, is the most important thing because it provides a total link-up for the shuttle program. We, of course, will have continuous coverage throughout this 9-day mission of Atlantis here on CNN.